This one is for you, the one who cried last night. Not loudly, not in front of anyone. Maybe it was in the shower, where the sound gets covered. Maybe it was in the car parked outside before you walked in so your face had time to reset. Maybe it was at 3 in the morning when the house was completely quiet and you finally let yourself feel what you've been carrying all day. Nobody saw it, nobody knew, and the next morning you were fine. You showed up. You asked how everyone else was doing. You held it together because that is what you do, because that is what you have always done. This video is not about why you cry. It is about why you learn to do it alone, and what that has cost you, and what it says about who you actually are. Stay with me. Here is something most people never consider. Silent crying is not a personality trait. It is not shyness. It is not introversion. It is not emotional strength or maturity or being a private person. It is a system. A carefully built, highly functional system that was designed at some point in your life to keep you safe. Here is how systems like this get built. At some point earlier than you probably remember, you cried in front of someone, and it did not go the way crying is supposed to go. Maybe the response was frustration. Maybe it was dismissal. Maybe someone told you to stop. Maybe the room got colder instead of warmer. Maybe you learned without anyone saying the words directly that your pain was a problem for other people. That showing it made things worse, not better. So you made a decision, not consciously, not deliberately, the way children make decisions, by surviving the moment and filing away what worked. What worked was silence, and silence became the system. And the system became so seamless, so automatic, so completely integrated into who you are, that by the time you became an adult, most people around you had no idea it was even there. Let us go back, because this started somewhere specific. And naming where it started matters more than most people realize. Some people learned silence because the adults around them were not safe containers for emotion. Parent who responded to tears with anger. Household where strength was praised and vulnerability was punished, not always loudly. Sometimes just through the quality of the silence that followed when you showed how you felt. Some people learned silence because they became the strong one early. The one the family leaned on. The one who held it together when things fell apart. The one whose job, unspoken, unofficial, entirely unfair, was to be okay so that other people could afford not to be. And you were good at the job. You were still good at the job. But nobody asked you if you wanted it. Nobody checked if you were okay while you were busy making sure everyone else was. Nobody taught you what to do with the feelings you were quietly absorbing while you held the room together. So you held those too, in the shower, in the car. It's 3 in the morning. In the private spaces where the system finally allowed a small, controlled release before resetting so you could show up again. Here is the part that needs to be said. That system kept you safe. In the environment it was built for, it was the right response. It worked. But systems built for survival do not automatically know when the original threat has passed. They just keep running. And so the person who learned at 7 or 10 or 14 that their pain was unwelcome becomes the adult who cannot cry in front of their partner, who apologizes for having emotions, who says, "I'm fine," with complete conviction, even when they are not, who feels a flash of shame when a tear escapes at the wrong moment in the wrong place, because the system files that under weakness, it's under burden, under you are making this about you. And the cost of running that system for decades is a very specific kind of loneliness. The loneliness of being surrounded by people who love you and still feeling completely alone with the heaviest things you carry. Not because they would not help, but because the system does not know how to let them. There is a type of person that shows up in every group, every family, every friendship circle, every workplace. They are the one everyone calls when something goes wrong. They always answer. They always know what to say. They ask the right questions. They hold the space beautifully, never make it about themselves. They are the one everyone leans on. And they are almost always the most unseen person in the room, because the role they play comes with an invisible agreement. You are the strong one, which means you are fine, which means nobody needs to ask, and they do not ask. Not because they do not care, but because you have never given them any indication that there was anything to ask about. Because the system works. You show up whole. You perform whole. You leave whole. And then you get to the car. You sit there for a moment before starting the engine. In that moment, the weight of everything you absorbed that day lands all at once. And nobody sees it. and you drive home. And tomorrow, you do it again. Now here is what I want you to understand. Everything we have just described, the system, the silence, the holding it together, the crying alone, none of it means you feel less. It means you feel more than most people around you will ever understand. The people who cry silently are not emotionally shallow. They are emotionally vast. The feelings are present, always, sometimes overwhelmingly. What is absent is not the feeling. What is absent is the safety to let the feeling have a visible form. And there is a difference between those two things that is enormous. You were not built without feeling. You were built to feel everything and show nothing. And that combination, depth of feeling without permission to express it, is one of the most quietly painful ways to move through a life. It is also, and this matters, one of the reasons you understand people the way you do. Why you notice what others miss. Why people trust you with their hardest things. Why the people who know you, really know you, describe you as someone who made them feel completely understood. Because you know what it is to feel something deeply and carry it quietly. And that knowledge, however it was built, makes you extraordinary at holding other people's truth. Here is what I want to offer you, not advice, not a 5-step plan, not a protocol for emotional healing. Just this. You are allowed to be the one who needs something, the role you have been playing, the strong one, the one who holds it together, the one who is always fine. That is a role. It is not your identity. It is not your whole self. It is not the price you have to keep paying for the right to take up space in people's lives. The system you built made sense once in the environment it was built for. But you are not in that environment anymore. And you are allowed to let someone sit with you in the car. You are allowed to not be fine in front of a person who loves you. You are allowed to say, I need someone to ask how I am and actually wait for the real answer. Not all at once, not with everyone, not in every context, but somewhere with someone. Because the feelings you have been processing alone, in the shower, in the car, at 3 a.m, they were never meant to be processed alone. And the strength it took to carry them that way is real, and it deserves to be witnessed, not just by you. Here is what I want you to know. The fact that you cry silently does not mean you are broken. It means you built something extraordinary out of a situation that gave you very little to work with. You learned to be your own container, your own comfort, your own soft place to land when there was nowhere else to go. And you did that so well for so long that the world decided you did not need anything. But you do. You needed it then. When you were small and the room got quiet in the wrong way, when you learned that showing pain brought more pain, and you need it now, not because you are weak, because you are human. And humans were not built to feel everything alone. Not the big things. Not the quiet 3 a.m. things. Not the things you carry in the car before you walk through the door. You have been the person everyone else cries to. It is okay, more than okay, to finally be the person who cries. Think deeper. Stay sovereign. See you there.